Hello.
Rawbies are back.
Yes, after a long time.
Yes, very long time. We are very sorry that we did not keep you posted as promised.
Yes. Months and months.
So, since our last video, there passed a lot of time. We've both been to Asia. And today we thought we would tell you about our raw food experiences during our traveling.
Yes. How we managed to eat raw or not.
Or not. So, well, maybe you start.
Okay. So I went to India and I thought, I didn't know beforehand how India is in terms of raw food or what kind of fruits it has. And I realized it was not so easy. It's not easy to eat raw there because the variety is not very wide, or at least not for tourists who don't know how things work.
The right places.
The right places to go, the markets. And also, if you are running from one place to the other and going in the trains and hours in the train, so all this gets a bit complicated. And even more complicated when you're not by yourself or with raw food friends. That was my case. I was with people who did not eat raw, not at all, not even vegetarian, so yes, and so that was a little bit difficult to manage.
So, what kind of raw food did you have?
So I tried to have a lot of fruit. There was a kind of fruit called chikus. Oh, I love chikus. That became my favorite. And coconuts, young coconuts. They were everywhere. So I became known as the cocoa girl in India. If you ask about the cocoa girl,
It's her?
it's me. And, well, yes, you know why. Because that was the easiest raw food I could find, and everywhere, very accessible.
And it's also always clean,
Available.
right? Because
Clean,
it's-
yes, cheap. Very cheap. It's like 20 cents, even less sometimes. It's very, very cheap. And good, yes. And I sometimes, if I wouldn't eat it more often, was because of my friends. Because, of course, we were always stopping for me to eat coconuts. And yes, sometimes they had to go along to see the monuments or the houses or something. And I would stay behind drinking coconut and eating. Yes, so that was mainly the raw food that you could find. So some fruits, not many. At least, well, it depends on the region
Season.
where you go.
Oh.
And the season, probably, yes. So I went in February and March. And I was in the north, and then when I came to the south, that was easier. So I was in Goa, and I think the south has more variety of fruit, much more. And then it's easier to follow more healthy lifestyle. In the north, it's very difficult, and especially even more north, because I was near Himalayas, and there is very difficult because there's not much offer, and things get very expensive.
And
So-
what about your experiences with Indian families? I mean, people always hear that they are very friendly, welcoming, a lot of hospitality.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
when they offer you cooked food, what did you do?
Well, I accept it, of course.
Would be very
Yes,
impolite.
very
right?
impolite. I was invited several times to eat with Indian families, and it was such a nice gesture from them. And the whole family is around you because you're the foreigner and the visitor. And Indians are very warm-hearted, and they like to treat their guests very well. And with
Yeah.
all the
And I think providing a guest with food plays a big role,
yes,
right? So-
yes, a big role. And so they put everything in front of you, and they just want you to eat everything. And I have to say, so the food in the houses, so in homemade food is very different from the food that you find outside. Outside is very unhealthy, a lot of fried food, a lot of colorful, strange things, sweet things. And inside the houses, the homemade food, I even think they make it in a very healthy way. So I think, yes, they eat differently, of course, like everybody else, inside and outside.
So then you've kept to vegetables and rice, or
Yes,
basically.
well, of course, they are vegetarian. That's very good already.
Hmm.
And well, some friends of mine, they already understood my type of eating, so they always bought a lot of vegetables and a lot of fruit just for me. Oh, and they were so sweet. They
That's
just
nice.
would put in front of me and they say, "We know you like a lot of fruit."
Very nice.
That's very nice. Yes.
And before you went to India, you were mainly raw, right? So very much raw. And did you react on having more cooked food?
Oh yes, that is a very good topic. I did. I had a very strong reaction to the cooked food. So I had again an outburst in my skin, but really very strong. And I'm still not okay yet, but I'm getting better now that I'm back in Germany. And yes, I have to say, I never had this in my whole life. So this is
So your body is really very sensitive.
yes, my body is very clean, or was, at least, and the shock, so the difference between cooked food and raw food, really it was a shock for the body, so it reacted.
It's really interesting how
As
quick
a
your
defense,
body
yeah.
reacts.
The body just wants to expel all these bad things, yes, all this processed food that it's not used to it. So, and it doesn't recognize it, or even it's harmful, and so the body just wants to expel it. And it was a lot. Yes, it was really not good. That
Very
was really
annoying.
not good. Yes, but in terms of energy or how I felt, I was not sick ever. So that is a very good thing. I was not sick. Even the mosquito bites were very light, which I found strange. But I talked to other raw foodists who say this happened to them too. That you get mosquito bites like other people, but you don't get a strong reaction like most people. So you feel it, but I don't know, after a while it's gone.
So maybe
And,
it also
the
heals
skin
quicker.
heals very quick.
Oh, that's interesting.
So that is interesting. So you see advantages and disadvantages of eating raw, and reactions to cooked food, but also then you have the advantages of healing faster if you are harmed in some way. I think it's the same thing that you get the outburst exactly because your body is healing, yes, so just wants to expel all the toxins. So it's the same,
All right.
in the same direction.
Yeah. At least that's a theory.
Yeah,
But everybody reacts differently. So,
Mhm.
but for you, this is very observable that there is a connection between those things.
Yes,
I think.
because it's the change is very drastic. I get this outburst, and I know immediately. Okay, it's because I ate cooked food.
Well, I have been to Burma around the same time. That's a country next to India, basically. And there it was also a problem that there was not a lot of variety. Well, there was mainly a watermelon, papaya, ananas, a pineapple, I mean, and what else? Bananas, of course, and coconuts also, but well, really not as much as I expected to see there in Asia. But I also think that I had the same problem as Tasha had, that I did not know the right places where to go. As a tourist, it's always a little bit different. So I also had a lot of cooked food there because it's difficult if you don't know where to go and buy your raw food to stay raw. So I had fruits, but mainly for dessert. And it was good, but I have also realized that it's not as good as I expected it to be, because I always thought, oh, fruit directly in Asia must be much more tasty than the fruit is here, because it's more ripe, it's fresh, and somehow I expected it to be differently than from the imported fruits that I can eat here. The fruit was good, that's out of question. It was ripe, but the difference was not that big, so that disappointed me a little. So, and after Burma I went to Thailand, which is more tropical and therefore has more fruit. And there I had also mangoes, and the mangoes, they were really good. That makes difference with mangoes, at least. But the rest of the fruit was just the same like in Burma. It's somehow nothing new, and I expected it to be a new experience, so there I had to adjust my expectations, I think. And after Thailand I went to Malaysia, where it was also basically the same, even more tropical than Thailand, but yeah, same taste of fruit. Good fruit, but not as good as I expected. So I had a lot of fruit there, together with cooked food, and I felt good. I mean, it was also, of course, I was on vacation. I think you always have more energy there. It was very interesting. But I think if you're really raw and you are in Asia, you can live very well on raw food when you are not in India or Burma, because those countries are different. The cultures are also different, and also the climate is different, so that the variety is not as broad as in Thailand or Malaysia.
Yes, or the south of India, it's also more tropical, so easier.
Yeah, the more south you get, then you have also more fruit.
And did you go to the markets there?
Well, I passed some in Burma. I went to the market, but they had no real fruit, just cut watermelon already, or cut papaya. Nothing special. It was just the regular stuff that you have here too. And I also had coconuts in each of those countries, and I was very disappointed from the coconuts because they all tasted sour. I mean, I have better coconuts here. I couldn't believe that.
Strange.
Yes, it was really strange. I thought, wow, I'm in the countries of coconuts. I love coconuts. But I had bad luck with coconuts, I think, because they all tasted like they were not good anymore. So probably they have not been that fresh anymore. And then you wonder while you're sitting under a coconut tree, oh my god, why is this coconut not fresh? It should be fresh and good tasting, but well, you had luck with coconuts, so I think that's not representative, my experience with coconuts.